Hi everyone, here's another quick look at a watch I've recently added to my collection. Um, Similar to the Grand Seiko, no, sorry, not the Grand Seiko, the King Seiko that I recently picked up. Um, this will look very similar if you hold the pictures side by side. This is the Sbgv005 Grand Seiko, which was superseded by the 005 and then the newer series with the updated movement. But me personally, I preferred the one actually with the Seiko on the top and the Grand Seiko logo on the bottom. So I was looking for a good example of this one, and I found this at a local retailer here in Tokyo, Jack Road, one of my more frequent purchasing places, vendors. This, of course, as you see, is on a leather strap right now, and I did that because, well, it's winter time, almost winter time, and I do like to wear my watches on leather, give them a little more variety as the season cools and the hot Japanese humid summers have passed. And also because I think making this video, I wanted to show some more possibilities with this case, the 44GS case and the champagne dial, and how it might look with a different option, particularly a leather band like this. You can see plenty of videos and pictures on the bracelet, and when I was looking for this, I thought, I couldn't find really very much people putting it on leather, so I wanted to share a video with the characteristics that I was looking for, which is, a leather strap. So this watch was in excellent condition when I picked it up. Of course, this is typical here in Japan, free of scratches or marks at all, any kind. Hope I'm not showing any fingerprints on this. It's very, very hard to keep this case completely mark-free if you even touch it, but that's part of the fun of the 44GS case. I also wanted this one in particular because the champagne dial, I did not have a champagne dial yet in my collection, and I do enjoy the effect this dial has with different lighting. This is daylight over my table, and you can see it does change a bit from silvery to more golden champagne, even in this light. And you go in the dark and it does become a more muted color, and if you're in bright sunlight, the sunburst finish on the dial really pops out that much more. Even though it is a champagne dial, I find the contrast with the hands and markers to be wonderful. As I think I've mentioned in other videos before, I do legibility is something that is a priority to me in my watches, as well as just the beauty of the watch itself, but I want to be able to very quickly know what time it is. White dials with white markers are similar, sometimes get more difficult to read, but because of the way Seiko cuts the movements in the hands and the way they catch the light, I think you can agree that it's very easy to discern the time on these pieces. I think it's been said before, mostly by Tim Mosso, I think on his channel, that the champagne dial has the most steps actually in manufacture, and it doesn't have a texture. People may look at the snowflake and other the birch dials that are today that are stamped in the brass, and that is, it's wonderful. I like it a lot as well, but just the fact this one took a little bit more time, a little bit more care to process, to me really captures the nature of Seiko and Grand Seiko about time and effort. The Japanese do value time and effort probably above all else. I've learned that working here for quite a few years. Sometimes it's not even about success or failure, but how much effort you've put in, how hard you've really tried. And you see that on pieces like this with the exquisite polishing, the manufacture of the dial, the cut of the markers, the bluing of a second hand. There are easier ways to do it, but Grand Seiko always chooses the right way, which takes time and skill and patience. The Zaratsu polishing on the case is well known, and that is, as we know it, that is a Salaz machine from Europe, adopted by the Japanese, and it is a spinning tin wheel type polishing, as opposed to a buffer, which means it's much harder to maintain constant pressure on the material, but does give you this black mirror-like finish. Now, again, as I was saying about Grand Seiko and the way they do things, there are others out there who can use a Salaz machine. Tin wheel polishing is not itself all that unusual, but doing it right, doing it to perfection, is what makes Grand Seiko special to me. I think whether you're talking about dial manufacture, or the cutting of hands, or the polishing of cases on super sharp angles, that is where Grand Seiko excels. And that is where I feel like an emotional connection to these watches, understanding how much effort somebody put in to crafting this watch, whether it is, the hand-assembled 9F quartz movement inside, or it's the placement of the markers in the dial, or the polishing of the case and the cutting of those edges. Everybody who manufactured this watch put in their best effort. And they took years of training, and they don't accept anything less than the very best. And that is part of what warms my heart to Seiko itself, and living here in Japan, understanding the craftsmanship culture at the very highest levels here. I think Grand Seiko really exemplifies that in a small form factor that I can wear on my wrist every day and take a look at and really enjoy like nothing else. And I think that's perhaps why a lot of people get into Grand Seiko without even realizing that they're appreciating that kind of refined craftsman culture. They're just really appreciating what they get for the money and the quality. But when you think a little bit deeper about what went into that, the people that manufactured the piece, you can see it in the videos, the people that tour the factory, and you can see how the workers take pride in what they do and hear them speak about it. I think it's really meaningful for me, and I think it's part of what makes owning these watches very special to me. Besides the fact that you can just, as I'm doing right now, you just twist and turn the watch just the slightest bit, catch the light, and it just never gets boring. It's fantastic to look at these pieces and just see how they come alive and how they dance with the light. And they do it all with such subtlety. They don't add extra things. It's just how the things that are there are done to perfection. And that itself has its own depth without adding anything additional. So my feeling would be if a 44 GS case and/or champagne dial or 9F quartz, any of these things, looked at independently, themselves are amazing when put together, into a watch that has this kind of beauty, this longevity, the 50-year quartz movement that can be serviced, ultimate precision and visibility of the dial, hands, markers, all that coming together into a fantastic piece that I think, for me, it's a great all-around watch that I can wear anytime, anywhere. And being a 9F quartz, I never have to worry about it being on time, and I never have to worry about servicing it. It'll probably outlive me easily, and I think it's a testament to craftsmanship that will stand the test of time. So if 9F is for you, if 44 GS casing is for you, then I say don't hesitate picking up one of these pieces if you can find them. You will most certainly enjoy it for a great deal of time to come.